So, quick disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or psychiatrist in any way, shape or form. I am merely speaking what's on my mind and my own opinions alone. I mean, everything I say in this video could be wrong or it could be right, but I'll leave that to the comment section. Also, one more thing to point out, as I'm writing this script, I'm not trying to defend EDP in any way. I am not trying to sympathize with him. I think he's a disgusting human being regardless of his past and needs to be punished for his actions, so just putting that out there as well. About 2 years have passed since the infamous sting operation that took place on April 2021, where famous YouTuber EDP445 got caught trying to meet up with what he thought was a 13-year-old girl, claiming that he was only there to pick up a cupcake from this girl despite the truly disturbing chat logs that were exposed beforehand. I'm sure many of you have already watched those videos, and I'm sure many of you already know the tale, and I'm not here to discuss those videos, but I am here to speak my mind on what may have led to those videos of ADP just falling from grace. Another thing to point out is that I personally did not know about EDP445 before the sting operation, so I'm not the biggest law expert on ADP. I'm not an American football fan, so maybe that's why I've never really heard about him, because he didn't make videos that were of my interest, so you could say I'm just a historian that is exploring the abandoned library of EDP445, studying all the chronicles of EDP and what led to his downfall, reading all the scrolls that led to his unforgivable behavior. And before I talk about the main topic, which is EDP's porn addiction, I first want to discuss the physical and mental state that he was in, and is still in, that being a nearly 500-pound person who lacks any sort of discipline, any sort of hygiene, and just does not take care of himself altogether. This is a person who, at a young age, may not have been taught the importance of health and self-care, including simple but essential activities that could lead to a better lifestyle, such as brushing your teeth, taking a shower, eating fruits and vegetables every day, and making sure you do some form of physical activity outside rather than stay home and watch television all day. Because he possibly wasn't taught this would inevitably lead to him becoming morbidly obese, have extreme body odor, which was confirmed by his former friends and people that met him, and extremely crooked teeth. And again, I don't know his early life like that. Anyone who is a former EDP fan, please let me know what his early life was like in the comments. But regardless, the lack of self-care EDP has can obviously make any woman his age turn their heads away. I know they say looks don't matter, or personality matters more. Well, in EDP's case, looks definitely matter more than ever, especially when you have 500 pounds to lose, and do not get me started on his personality, especially his attitude towards women. Matter of fact, this is where his long-time exposure to porn plays a role in, and this is where I will now talk about his porn addiction. Now, before I go any further, let me clarify this. I personally do not think that his porn addiction was the number one main reason for why he wanted to meet up with the child, but I do think that it plays a key part into what he did, mixed with not taking care of himself, being obese, and not getting any attention from women his own age. Mix all of that in with porn and you've got a massive recipe for disaster. That being said, however, it is still very possible that he has always been attracted to children, and if that's the case, he should definitely be locked up somewhere and not in society. Now, I know people within the ADP community are arguing whether his porn addiction was the main cause of what he did, or if he was always like this, but just know, as a non-ADP fan, I am playing devil's advocate here and making this video assuming that his porn addiction did in fact lead to what he did. So after watching the sting operation, I did go on YouTube to watch his old videos that are now deleted and are on archive channels, just to see exactly who this person was, and needless to say, I honestly was not surprised at what I saw. Many of his videos regarding his porn addiction had titles such as Best Porn to Beat Yourself To, Addicted to the Porn Life, and one title that just left me in astonishment, Top 200 Porn Stars of All Time. Now I'm going to talk about the first two videos I mentioned, but I need to get this question out of the way. How do you possibly know 200 porn stars? 200 individual porn stars? Like, I have a list of my favorite Hollywood actors, but if I were to have a conversation with someone and they asked me who my favorite actors were, I could possibly name only 6 or 7 at the top of my head. I don't think I could name even 50. So the fact that ADP knows 200 porn stars is just insane. Especially when the video doesn't even mention the porn star's name. Like, do you dedicate your time to searching for a name? If so, that's insane, but that's another topic for another video. So, in this video, Best Porn to Beat Yourself To, literally in the first 10 seconds, EDP says that the best porn to watch is anime or hentai. Yeah, He then explains how hentai can be better than real life porn, like the sounds the characters make and the animation style. He even goes as far into saying that tentacle porn is also a strong recommendation if you were looking for something good. But after watching that video, I was just like, wow. So he's clearly got this false image of what a real woman looks like. Obviously, the women in anime, especially hentai, do not look like women in real life at all. EDP apparently did not seem to
Right? A
realize
lot of
that.
people who have who have very bad health and have like out of shape bodies, they don't look good. They have anxiety. They can't get women, or I don't know, some women who masturbate or whatever. Maybe they can't get guys or something. I don't know. But people, they use porn because they need some kind of connection because they can't get a woman in real life, so they'll keep masturbating to porn every day, thinking as a way to cope with it. And the more you have this unhealthy attitude and stuff, you'll start eating unhealthier. You'll start no exercise, and it's just like a black hole. You're done. Like you're just gonna keep on getting more out of shape, keep masturbating every day, more and more and more and more and more until you're done. There's no way out of it.
The next significant video I watched was The Porn Life, and this video pretty much confirmed what I was speculating about ADP's views on women. He basically just mentions that his type of woman is a woman with big boobs and a big ass. Nothing about a woman's personality, their hobbies, or their lifestyle. Just boobs and ass, which, unless he actually talked to a woman who looked like that in real life, which I doubt, he most likely saw women who look like that in porn. Once again, giving him this false image of his ideal woman. There's even a part late in the video where he tries to justify watching porn, claiming that everyone has watched porn in their life and that there should be no shame when talking about porn, but that's also another topic for another video. I just found that claim to be insane, but what I do want to talk about is what he says at the end of the video, where he says that he's been watching porn since 2003. Now, this is where I can see the problem that would later grow into something worse. EDP was exposed to porn at around 12 to 13 years old, which is usually the age most boys get exposed to porn, unfortunately. But here's the difference between a hypothetical 12-year-old and 12-year-old EDP. Let's say hypothetically the 12-year-old watches porn for the first time, and after that he gets hooked. He can't stop watching porn. Soon as you know it, he sees every woman as no more than a sexual object. He can't talk to girls properly without being shy and nervous until one day he meets a girl in his class. Despite acting nervous, he still manages to have a proper conversation with her. He finds out that he really likes this girl. They start dating, and eventually the boy realizes that watching porn is destructive for his mindset, so he stops watching it, starts to exercise, starts to improve himself mentally and physically, and is still dating this girl throughout high school and college. They then get married, and they live happily ever after. This is what EDP should have been doing. He should have realized how destructive porn can be to a young person's mind, but instead he got stuck on the first step of watching porn non-stop to the point where he would get shy and nervous in front of every girl he saw or talked to. His videos with his friend Philadelia kind of prove that. Again, I don't know his early life, but I can only guess that during his school years, EDP could not talk to any girls at all due to him watching porn all the time. So after watching these videos where EDP talks proudly about porn, I came to the conclusion that due to all the porn he has consumed over his childhood, teenage, and adult years, his brain got so corrupted that he could no longer distinguish the difference between women in the real world and women who act badly, might I add, in porn videos.
Severely addicted to pornography and just the idea of sex in general, that also causes mental illness. That causes a sort of dysmorphia between normal, healthy relationships and interactions with women and solely viewing them as flesh, holes that you can use. And I think that addiction and that dysmorphia that causes when you watch too much pornography every day, and you know the names of 500 porn.
So EDP is literally the type of person to go to a grocery store, see a hot cashier, and expect said cashier to have sex with him in the next 5 minutes. Or sorry EDP, but stuff like that doesn't happen in the real world, only in the twisted fantasies you have due to watching so much porn. Also adding to this, I do believe that because of the already unrealistic porn he consumed, it may have made him move from typical vanilla porn to so much worse things that I do not even want to mention in this video. With all this being said about his corrupted views on women thanks to porn, this leads to his nonsensical bitterness towards women in real life. Besides making videos about how proud he is to be a porn addict, he would also make videos ranting about how women don't want him, saying that they are spineless, or saying that they don't like nice guys. You get the point. Now I know he wasn't always like this in the beginning, he even had a close female friend who was an Eagles fan just like him, but due to spending most of his time watching porn and ranting about football, his chances of being in a proper relationship with a woman was going to be bleak. Not to mention that all the money he made on YouTube couldn't even be spent wisely to take care of himself, like buying a gym membership or healthy food from the grocery store, not even proper dental care. So again, the lack of self-care in his adult years turned a lot of women's heads the opposite direction, since at that age, with that kind of money, you should be expected to take care of yourself. Nonetheless, EDP's porn addiction, his corrupted image of his ideal woman, his lack of game talking to women, his breakup with the teacher he dated for a few months, and from the information I've gathered, it wasn't even official. All this combined created EDP's desperation for a woman's attention. And it is at this point that EDP wanted any female, no matter who it was, and this is where EDP hits rock bottom. This is where the allegation starts happening. This is where he is accused of talking to nearly 10 underage girls, and it is just disturbing to say the least. Then we get the infamous chat logs, and this is where I can now confirm that EDP has no experience talking to women in real life at all. He sends pictures of his poop, pictures of his guns, cringeworthy selfies which for some reason he thought he was cute in, and finally, not to mention that in some of the texts, he actually sends messages that would be aimed towards a child. Messages like "don't let the bedbugs bite" and other cringy texts you would definitely not send to a grown woman. So, to conclude this video, while I don't fully think that porn is to blame for EDP's actions, I can definitely see it being a huge factor in it. He watched porn for nearly his entire life without realizing the damaging impact it has towards real life interactions with women. This caused him to act nervous and insecure when talking to women in real life, which would then lead to his desperation for a woman's attention, and things would go really, really downhill from there, with him trying to meet up with an underage girl because he felt like that was the only option he had, and that is unforgivable. You should never, ever, no matter how desperate you are, should absolutely never go that low. But sadly, EDP now has to learn the hard way, and he must pay for what he did. Thank you for watching this video. I know this isn't what I usually make history videos, but I do want to make the most out of his channel and cover other topics as well. So if you like this video, I'll consider doing more. But thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.